Hey everyone, I'm Fred Ranger and I hope you're doing good. I hope you're staying safe, and just want to say that we support people in Ukraine. This is a terrible thing that's happening right now, and just wanted to say that our hearts goes out to all the people of Ukraine, and kudos to the photographers that are there documenting what's happening there. You guys are brave, so I really truly respect that. But hey, we don't talk about politics on this channel. We talk about visual storytelling and the gear we use to tell our stories in this day and age. And speaking of which, I wanted today to share a couple thoughts around why I decided to make the Leica M10 the primary camera that I use for my photography. This is a camera that I bought a little bit over a year ago, and the story behind it is that I started my journey in the Leica ecosystem with the beautiful Leica Q2, but this is a more modern type of Leica camera. This is a camera that has 40 megapixel autofocus, beautiful lens on it, and I really like to use it in everyday situation. Then found a very good deal on a Leica M6, and of course this is a film camera, and literally fell in love with the system. So this is a 1997 film camera, all mechanical except for the light meter in it. Beautiful OVF that you can see, your focusing patch very well. There you have it with the 50 millimeter Sumi Lux, and I was really into the body shape of the M6. So I thought to myself, if there is a camera out there that's digital and that has the same shape or handling of the M6, well, I'm really interested in learning more. So in chatting with my friends at Chemtech Photo here at the Leica boutique in Montreal, Jean and the bunch, shout out guys, they had a Leica M10, a used one, which was in mint condition, and I decided to take the plunge and really have one camera system for my photography. And I'm not talking about videography. I use plenty of other cameras for video that are not Leica. And I decided to take the plunge and to say, you know what, this is a good deal. The camera is in mint condition, still is actually, even though I'm maybe not as gentle as the previous owner to this camera, but I said, wow, I put it in my hand and I said, this is the same type of feeling that you have on an M6. And here are a couple reasons why. So top 5 reasons why I decided to invest in the M10 and that you might, want to consider while shopping around for your next camera or your next rangefinder camera. So the first one is, like I said, the handling. So if you look here closely in the back, the M10 has this little notch here that acts as literally like a thumb rest. So if you look at the M6, what I would be doing is use this, advanced lever, put it like that, and put my thumb like that, and then shoot. And this is my acts as my thumb rest. And on the Q2, of course, I did put one because I really like thumb rest for handling the camera and ease of use. So I would be doing that on the M6. So the M11 actually has one that's built in. So I really like this design. The small details like that from Leica, really like it. So the handling, perfect. So reminds me of my M6, has a place for my thumb right there, and then the fingers, and then you're ready to go. So that's the first reason why. The second reason is the actual focusing patch in the M10. I thought it was really bright, really big. I can really easily, and I'll put some B-roll here, but I can really easily see, especially with a 35, which I think this camera is optimized for. I can really see big and bright, take my photos, boom, and again, reminds me a bit of the M6, but it's even better than the M6. It's a 0.72 magnification type of OVF, and I find that it's better than the ones that I've seen in older cameras. Not that the older cameras are not as good, they're actually offering a slightly different shooting experience. So the focusing patch is really something that sold me on the M10. But in terms of technology, there's not a lot of technology in there outside of the fact that it's a digital camera, 24 megapixel sensor, and all this, bells and whistles. But this is a 2017 camera. Yet, I thought that the EVF, or sorry, the screen, the LCD screen in the background, was finally, up to speed with some of their competitors in terms of the resolution. It's a sharp, sharp enough to be able to do critical focusing. When you're focusing that 50mm 1.4 on the Leica M10, you really can go in and zoom in and nail the focus very precisely and then take your shot. I have it on focus peaking red, so I can clearly see what's in focus, what's not. So that's another reason why I consider more the M10 versus the M240 or the 246 or the M8 or the M9. I thought that these LCDs in the back were not as sharp and as bright as the one on the M10. The third reason why I decided to go with this M10 and not, an older model or not a newer model are the file size. So 24 megapixel, I love this file size. Maybe, down the road I'll change my mind on that one. But I thought that it was more than enough for me, travel photography, documentary, street. I thought that this was more than enough, and I love how Lightroom, which is my preferred editing software, is handling the DNGs just perfectly fine. It's the right amount of details, but it's speedy enough. I do have an M1 MacBook Pro that could probably destroy. Actually, it does destroy the 40 megapixel from the Q2, but I like the fact that 24 is just more than enough for the use that I have. I'm not a commercial product photographer, as an example. But if I do want to have more resolution, there's always this little guy here that has 40. So 24 megapixel is another reason why, and the sensor in this machine is just beautiful. Yes, you have to be careful with your highlights. You can easily blow the highlights on this sensor, but when you nail the focus and when you nail the exposure, this produces some of the best images I've taken in the past. I was in the past 10 years, and I'll show some on the screen. Maybe you don't like them. I do like them. I do photography for me, so that's why when I find something I love, I invest time and energy in learning more about it, and I'm still discovering things to this day about this beautiful camera. The fourth reason why I decided to go with the Leica M10, the actual menu design, and not just the internal menu, which is this here that I can activate with one button. This is my favorite menu that I program. But not only the software, but the physical buttons. If you look at this, you've got pretty much 3 buttons here. So live view, play when you want to review your images, and menu, which brought us to this menu here. And you've got your little scroll arrow button here, and of course the scrolling wheel in the back to either zoom in or to do other operations. So I really like that simplicity. And what I also like is that when I take another digital Leica camera that I have, the Q2, it's exactly the same. So you've got the 3 buttons, the arrow wheel, and so on and so forth. And so I just love the fact that it's consistent across newer models. If you go back to the M8 or the M9, or even the M240, I think it's more buttons, and you have an ISO button there. Here you have the ISO right on top. It's a little wheel that you can scroll, and when you're locking your ISO right there, you're ready to go. And the fifth reason why I decided to go with a Leica M10, this is not exclusively for the M10, it's for all M cameras, but it's the fact that I could actually use some of my Leica glass that I got for the M6. And now I have always at hand a digital version that's pretty consistent in terms of look and feel and in terms of handling. And I have the film option, and I can of course swap lenses. This is the 50mm 1.4. This is the Summicron f2 35mm, and I have the Voigtlander 28mm. That is a very good option, and if you want me to talk about the 28 Voigtlander, you can ask down below or like this video. It'll tell me that you like this content, but more importantly, subscribe and activate the bell notification so you know when I'll be publishing another video about these great puppies. This is the first video of many. If you're interested in seeing me shooting this camera, because a lot of people are saying, okay, stop talking about the camera and show us what you can do with it. Well, I have a video right here of me shooting the Leica M10 in Montreal in Chinatown. And this was one of my first kind of official street photography shoot, so I was still learning how to focus with the patch. I mean, I did have some experience with the M6, but I've been a autofocus with the Fujifilm and now the Q2 autofocus shooting guy. Now I'm learning a new skill, which I really like. So I invite you, if you have any questions about any of these, Leica cameras, or the next one you want to see, or more in-depth review of the M10, let me know. I've been Fred Ranger. Please enjoy life, be happy, and enjoy your rangefinder style, not style, literally rangefinder cameras. Cheers.